Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my 32-week pregnancy update. If you are new here, hi, I'm Emily and I am pregnant with my third child, our first little boy. I have two girls who are 7 and 2, and this will be our first little boy and our last baby. So I'm super excited. I do want to say that I'm talking a little bit on the low side because Ariella is napping and I'm trying not to wake her up. So that I can actually film this. So basically I have a lot going on right now. I have a lot of stuff that I am dealing with related to pregnancy, and I'm just going to start with all of the stuff from my last update. So I think my last update was up to my 27-week mark, and so basically I'm just going to talk about like all of my cravings and everything since then. So let's just go ahead and start with that. I think that I said in my last update that I wasn't having many major cravings. That's definitely changed. I am having the biggest sweet cravings. Anything I can get my hands on that has sugar in it, like I want it. Oh, before I go any further, if you're noticing that I'm super red, I am super red. We went to the lake. I got sunburnt really bad. So that's what that's about. But basically, I am like craving anything sweet, ice cream, cookies, like chocolate, like literally anything I can get my hands on. I want it. Like I want sugar so bad. And I eat blueberry waffles breakfast every morning. That's like one of my main things right now that I'm obsessed with is frozen blueberry waffles, and I eat them with tons of butter and then syrup. Not tons of syrup, just tons of butter and then syrup. I don't know, I feel like I've said that, so maybe I did say that in my last pregnancy update. I don't know, but that's been going on for a while, so I could have possibly said that I have been eating waffles like every day. But I do, and they're so good. Sometimes I even eat them for lunch. So another thing I wanted to mention, not that it's a big deal or anything, but I said in my last pregnancy update that I had gained 20 pounds. I was completely off. When I went to the doctor, I realized that I had not gained 20 pounds. From my last update, I had gained 12 pounds and I am now up to 18 pounds. So I'm gaining about a pound a week now, which is pretty normal for me. I do put on the majority of my weight at the end of my pregnancy, and today I am 32 weeks and 3 days. So that's pretty normal for me, and I feel like that's kind of on the low side for me. I could be wrong, maybe. No, that would be actually about right, because I believe I did gain 25 pounds with Ariella, and or maybe it was 28. Either way, if I gain a pound a week up until, if this little guy stays in there up until 38 or 39 weeks, that would be 25 or 26 pounds. So that's exactly right on track of where I need to be. Like I said though, I try not to focus on my weight during pregnancy, because I have in past pregnancies, and it stresses me out and I get worried, and then I stress out that I'm not going to lose the weight. And the reality is no one needs to stress about that. Like, you know, obviously you don't want to consume excess and put on excess amount of weight, but there is no need to stress out about how much weight you gain during pregnancy, because eventually you will lose it, and even if it doesn't come off easily, like, you have the ability to lose the weight. So you know, and I know it's harder for some women than it is others. We're all different, but what I'm saying is that that's part of pregnancy, is to gain weight. It's a normal thing, and don't stress about it. Like, that's something we can't control, so don't stress about it, you know? I mean, there's a baby in there, there's a placenta in there, there's a bag filled with fluid in there, like, you're gonna gain weight, you know? And that's what I just keep telling myself is, don't worry about it, because you have the ability to change it once the baby comes out. So let's see, I think I don't really have like much updating to do for the last couple weeks, except for that I feel like the baby is getting bigger, and it's just harder to breathe because he's always got like some kind of appendage, an arm or a leg or a foot or something in my ribs, and it gets hard to take deep breaths. Nothing uncommon during pregnancy. But what I mostly want to talk about is what's been happening the last couple days. Today is Sunday, so Friday I started losing my mucus plug. When I'm filming this, it's Sunday. You'll see this on Monday, the next day. But on Friday I started losing my mucus plug, and then after that I started getting contractions. It started out just Braxton Hicks contractions, and what I refer to when I refer to Braxton Hicks contractions, I refer to the type of contractions that are tightening. They're uncomfortable and they might come with a tiny bit of cramping, but not painful, and that's what I refer to them as. But normally when I get Braxton Hicks contractions, they become consistent. I mean, you can time them, and that's not usually normal for women to be able to know when the next Braxton Hicks contraction is going to come. And so in my case, it's kind of different. This is the way it's been every time I've had a preterm labor scare and I go in and they can monitor those contractions. Those are the contractions I have. But lately, I started this before I lost my mucus plug. I would say about 31 weeks. Every once in a while, occasionally, maybe like once or twice a day, I would start to get a painful contraction. Nothing big, nothing like I thought I was going into labor, but definitely uterine contractions where you feel the tightness and you feel like the wave of like the menstrual cramp feeling. So that started about 31 weeks. Not too often, definitely not a consistent pattern or anything, so I wasn't concerned about it. But then, like I said, I lost my mucus plug and I started having consistent Braxton Hicks contractions, and then occasionally in between the Braxton Hicks I would get what I would refer to as a real labor contraction, although technically for me they all seem to be like real labor. I mean, I couldn't tell you. They can monitor them on the thing, and you know, that's what they've been trying to stop this whole time. So anyway, what was I saying? So crap, I just lost my train of thought. Pregnancy brain is real. That is another symptom for sure. My memory is so crappy right now, you guys. I forget things mid-sentence like this all the time, and I can't remember anything. So what was I saying? Basically, I started having the Braxton Hicks contractions, and I started having the, in between those, I started having painful contractions as well. So I called in and spoke to the on-call nurse, the triage nurse, and she at first was, I think mostly concerned because I had lost some mucus plug, and then I started having contractions about 30 minutes after that. So I think that was the main concern. And then they said they were going to talk to the doctor or a nurse practitioner, whoever was on call, and see what they wanted me to do. They called me back and they said, you know, with what the information that you gave us, that it's not a super big concern. But then since that time period, since they had called, they called me back at about 5 o'clock, and I had called them at about 3 o'clock. So for about and I think we had gotten off the phone at around 3:30. So about an hour and a half, I was having consistent Braxton Hicks contractions, and then occasionally, like I said, a painful contraction thrown in there, probably about every 45 minutes. So with that said, they wanted me to go into labor and delivery, like right away. And I told them I couldn't do that. My husband didn't get off till 7 o'clock, and I wasn't taking my kids into the hospital with me because they don't admit me into a room when I go. I mean, they put me in this tiny little triage room, and it's like a half a room, really. It's like when you go to the emergency room and you have like a little, like kind of a curtain room, except for this is a real room, but it's that tiny. Like literally there's a bed, there's the monitors in front of you, and then there's a little space to walk in and out of the door, and then there's a door to the bathroom that you share with the next triage room. So like there's no TV, there's no way to entertain my kids in there, and trying to be in the hospital and being monitored for contractions and trying to entertain my two kids when they would be bored out of their mind was not going to work. So I was like, if by the time my husband comes home, if they haven't stopped, then I'll go in. But I also have the medication that they gave me when I had my preterm labor at 22 weeks. So I have that medication, and I told them, like I would prefer to just be able to take that, and then if that's not helping, then I will go in. But I mean, you bring me in and you monitor me in a bed and make me take that medication, and that's all they do, to try to get the labor to stop in the beginning. And so I was like, I can just do that at home. But for some reason they told me that because I was having active contractions, that they needed to be able to monitor my blood pressure while I took the medication, to make sure it didn't dip too high or too low. But to me that doesn't make sense, because then why would you send me home with the medication in the first place? Because there's no one here to monitor my blood pressure. So anyway, at around 7 o'clock, when my husband got home, I was still having contractions, still having painful contractions. And so I just went ahead and I took one of the medications. And so at that point I had been having contractions for about 4 hours. And basically I took the medication and I went to sleep, and I didn't have any contractions through the night. I woke up the next day, I had a couple Braxton Hicks contractions, I had one painful contraction, and then for the rest of the day I just laid in bed. I literally just put myself on bed rest, because the more active I am, the more the contractions come on, and then I start to get more painful contractions. So I really just was trying to keep myself inactive so that I wouldn't get any more contractions. And I had a pretty good day yesterday. Like I said, I didn't have too many contractions. So basically that's what I've been doing, is just trying to keep an eye on that. And then this morning, which is 2 days after that because it's Sunday, I had another huge piece of my mucus plug come out. And I've been having cramping on and off. So it's Sunday, so the only thing that I would be able to do again if I called today is to go into labor and delivery. So tomorrow morning, Monday morning at 8 o'clock, I'm calling the doctor to see if they can get me in to check my cervix, because since I have to have a C-section, it's a little more concerning if I am dilating. Like if this was just a pregnancy where I could go naturally, and have a vaginal labor, this wouldn't be that big of a deal. But because I have to have a C-section, and if I wait till the last minute to where I have to have an emergency C-section, I would most likely be put to sleep, and I wouldn't be able to see my baby being born, and I wouldn't have anyone here to watch my kids. So that means I would go into surgery alone, and my husband would have to be with the kids. So basically I just need to be prepared for it. So I'm going to the doctor. Hopefully the doctor will have a quick appointment where I can just get in and see if my cervix is dilating, because if it is, then we need to come up with a plan. We need to have somebody here to watch the kids. But I know that your cervix, your mucus plug can regenerate, and it does in a lot of pregnancies. But like I said, because I am having a C-section, I don't want to take the risk of going into labor early, and again, like I said, 1, not having anyone here, 2, having to have an emergency surgery where I'm put to sleep. So that's basically that. That's basically the update for now. I update you guys on Instagram every day. So I'll leave my handle here, and I'll leave the Instagram link down below. That way you can just click that and it'll take you to Instagram, and you can follow my page there, because I'm literally in the stories there every day updating you guys on what's going on, especially when I have big things like this going on. So basically that's all I have to say. And then I'm really tired today, and I'm sitting on the floor. My back hurts. I would really like to just go sit back in bed. But yeah, so I'm going to show you my belly, and I'm going to show you, oh, I forgot to talk about the growth ultrasound I had. So because because of my history with other pregnancies, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch my C-section experience video. I'll leave that down below and at the end of the video. But basically, I have to have growth ultrasound at 32 weeks in my pregnancies to make sure the baby is still growing. So I got to go in and see my little boy, and he is so cute, you guys. He's so cute. He's weighing 4 pounds already, so he's not he's small, but they said that he's still within average range, or normal range. So they're not concerned about his growth. His head was a little bit big, and it's kind of weird because both of my girls have just been teeny tiny, but they said his head was a little bit big, like in the 50th percentile, but other than that, everything was just below average. So they're not concerned that we have any placental problems or any problems with him growing or anything like that, which was really good to hear. So I'll go ahead and show you my ultrasound here, and then I'll show you my belly, and that'll be it. And if you're wondering why I'm rushing, my memory card's about to run out. And so anyway, let's just go ahead and show you these pictures. So that is his mouth open. I don't know if you can see it. That's like his gum line. It almost looks like he has teeth. And there's his nose, his top of his mouth. And then here's his tongue and his mouth. He was like practicing breathing while I was in there. But this is my favorite picture of him. Look at his sweet little face. He just looks so precious. And you guys, he looks exactly like Ariella did when she was born. There are his boy parts. There's his profile in 2D. He had his foot on his forehead, literally. That was the other thing that the ultrasound technician was saying, is that he's just, I have a small frame, and he's just kind of squished in there. And she said that he seems really long because he's running out of room. But I don't know that necessarily it's that he's long. I just think because I'm small and he's a normal sized baby that he is running out of room. So anyway, his foot was way up on his forehead. Totally uncomfortable. But anyway, that's that, and I'll show you my belly now.